What's up guys, it's Ed from TechSource and welcome to June's PC build of the month. Now I've been giving Intel some love recently, so this time I decided to do an all AMD budget bang for your buck build. That's a lot of words, and it's actually pretty good for productivity as well since we're using a quad core processor. So with that said, let's dive right in. So the build will cost you around $550 and I'll be doing a step-by-step build guide for anyone that wants to buy the parts and build one for themselves. We're going to be overclocking and installing Windows as well, so be sure to check out the build guide once it's uploaded on the channel, and I'll drop a link to it below as well if it's already available. So for this build, I went with the R5 1400, which I managed to overclock to 3.9 GHz, and this is a solid quad-core processor for gaming, and it does a pretty decent job for editing video as well, compared to other quad-core CPUs, which we will later see in this video. Unfortunately, I didn't win the silicon lottery, so I couldn't get it to 4.0 as much as I tried, so I settled with 3.9 instead. It does come with its very own stock cooler, the AMD Wraith Stealth, and let me tell you guys, this thing is silent. Even during full load without the side panel on, this thing is virtually quiet. Here's me typing on the keyboard, and this is me whispering. The fans are very quiet. It also does a great job cooling the overclocked 1400, temps reaching only 70 degrees during full load. That's not bad. This means that we don't have to buy an aftermarket cooler. The motherboard choice was an easy one. The ASRock B350M Pro 4 is the best choice under $100 because it offers a lot of features for the money. Not only do you get 4 DIMM slots that support 64 gigs of RAM up to 3200 MHz, but you also get 2 M.2 ports, making it the perfect board for future upgrades. Whether it's upgrading your CPU, adding more RAM, or tossing in an M.2 drive later down the line, this motherboard gives you those options. Right now it's only going for $75 on Newegg, and it's definitely the best bang for your buck motherboard for budget builds right now. Now if it does get sold out by the time you're watching this video, I'll drop a link to an alternative motherboard down below for you. I tried to change things up and go with the Gale RAM sticks, but soon realized they went out of stock immediately, so I'll drop a link below to something equivalent that costs the same. We're also sticking with the usual 1 TB of hard drive space from WD, because honestly the value of this is really hard to beat, and that's one of the reasons why I use it in most of my budget builds, along with the power supply from EVGA. The graphics card of choice is the Gigabyte RX 560 because the new 5 series cards have a noticeable performance increase compared to the last generation lineup. And finally, we got the Zalman T2 case that's packing everything inside. Believe it or not, I was actually impressed with the quality of this case, despite it being only $35. It has all the ports in the front for easy access, along with a front panel USB 3, which is rare to find on cases for this price point. The construction of the case in general is really sturdy, and the side panels don't even bend. On top of that, there is plenty of space for cable management. We get a bunch of holes in the back as well as zip tie areas. One thing I didn't like is the size of the zip tie areas. I would have loved to see them a bit wider so that I can use Velcro straps instead, but it's not a big deal. What I find interesting about this case is that it gives the user so much space for cable management, yet it doesn't have a clear side panel, which kind of defeats the point. You know, if you're gonna go out of the way and cable manage your PC, make it look good from the inside, and you can't even show it off, then what the hell is the point? Instead, you get space to mount 2 80mm fans if you choose to. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I much prefer a clear side panel. I mean, look how clean the build looks. But sadly, I won't be able to show this off. Anyways, kicking off the benchmarks, we got Firestrike first up, and it looks like Zoltron scored 5700. Yes, that is the name of the build. I know it's cringy, just like most of my other builds, but guys, I'm running out of names here. I can only be creative for such a long time, so help me with some PC names down below in the comment section, please. Anyways, you guys can see how it performs compared to my other builds on the channel. The only PC it beat was Corbyte, which was a $450 gaming PC back in November, which was using a GTX 1050. But when we look at 4K render times, it actually didn't do that bad. It beat out Silencio, which was a $750 build back in March that was using an i5-7400 and a GTX 1060. Although I wouldn't call this a workstation PC, it should handle editing just fine as long as you're working with 1080p files. But how does it do in gaming? Before we get into the benchmarks, I want to let you guys know that I captured the footage using the AMD Relive screen capture, which basically impacted the frames of the games, anywhere from 5 to 10 frames, which is significant. So the FPS that you guys are seeing in the top right corner of the gameplay is not accurate. So instead pay attention to the FPS count that I listed on the right screen, because I had to retest the games while not using the real life screen capture. I hope that makes any sense. But anyways, without wasting any more time, these are all done in 1080p. Let's check them out. Some pretty healthy numbers coming from this build in high settings. Definitely playable above 30 FPS. However, if you want to achieve that 60 FPS minimum, you're gonna have to lower the settings a bit or upgrade the GPU. A GTX 1060 or RX 580 will give you that extra push, but you're going to have to pay closer to $200 to make that jump. So the positives and negatives of building this PC. I'll start with the positives. First up is acoustics. It's extremely quiet, so it's perfect for nighttime gameplay. So if you're living with your mom or your friend or roommate or whatever, and you don't want to wake them up, then this is perfect for that. Also, if you're recording on a microphone, the fan noise won't get picked up as well, so that's also a nice plus. Also, this PC is perfect for less intensive games. So we're talking Overwatch, League of Legends, Smite, Heroes of the Storm, and even CSGO. So if you guys want to play over 60 FPS in those games, then this PC will get the job done and you don't have to upgrade the GPU. And finally, productivity. Now, although I don't recommend this for heavy 3D modeling or graphic design work like that, but if you're editing 1080p video, then this PC will definitely get the job done. And finally, the negatives. So this is definitely not a dedicated streaming PC. You could definitely use it to stream games, but it's not for dedicated hardcore streamers out there, especially that are streaming intensive games. I recommend a higher core count CPU, like a 6 core, that will get the job done, and maybe even a better GPU for that. Number two, I mentioned it before, heavy 3D work, anything that's CPU intensive, definitely wouldn't recommend it for that. It is not a productivity PC. And number three, which is pretty obvious, I don't think I have to even mention it, but if you want a game in 1440p or 4K even, this is definitely not the PC for you. You definitely need a stronger processor and of course a much better GPU and a power supply. So this is not even the best PC to start with if you want to upgrade later down the line. This PC is perfect for those of you who are on a budget now and want to focus on 1080p gaming with upgrades later down the line. Let's say if you want to get a better processor or a better GPU but still want to game in 1080p, then this is definitely the PC for you. So that is it for this video. If you guys enjoy my monthly PC builds, leaving a like will ensure that I continue to do these every single month. Be on the lookout for the build guide coming up in a few days. If you guys want me to focus on a specific budget for the next month's build, let me know in the comment section, as well as what preference you guys want, whether it's a streaming PC, 4K gaming PC, 4K editing rig, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section and I'll check it out. But anyways, I can't thank you guys enough for your support. I love your faces. I will see you in the next video.